It looks like we are at 12:50. Is everybody ready to go? This is day 2, unit 5, and we're going to be doing the disabled ancestor service, which I will be using hand gestures in lieu of walking, and to indicate for walking, and also body gestures and stuff like that. We will also be doing Zazen afterwards, having a talk, and the Zazen will be reclining. You're welcome to join us in Recline Zazen. And if you do and you're wearing a kesa, I just ask you to please take off your kesa before you do reclining Zazen, so you don't lay on your kesa. And other than that, I think we're ready to begin.
The heart of the perfection of great wisdom, Sutra. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, awakened one of compassion in Prajna Paramita, the deep practice of perfect wisdom, perceive the emptiness of all 5 conditions and was free of suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form, form is precisely emptiness, emptiness precisely form, sensations, perceptions, formations, and consciousness are also like this. O Shari Thoughts are expressions of emptiness, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, neither waxing nor waning. Thus emptiness is not form, not sensation nor perception, not formation nor consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, nor object of mind, no realm of sight, no realm of consciousness, no ignorance, no end to ignorance, no old age and death, no cessation of old age and death, no suffering, nor cause or end to suffering, no path, no wisdom, and no gain, no gain. Thus bodhisattvas live this prajna paramita with no hindrance of mind, no hindrance, therefore no fear, far beyond all delusion. Nirvana is already here, all past, present, and future Buddhas live this prajna paramita and realize supreme and complete enlightenment. Therefore know that prajna paramita is the sacred mantra, the luminous mantra, the supreme mantra, the incomparable mantra, by which all suffering is clear. This is no other than truth. Therefore set forth the prajna paramita mantra, set forth this mantra and proclaim gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisvaka, hanya shingyo. Buddha nature pervades the whole universe, reality existing right here now. In reciting the Heart of the Perfection of Great Wisdom Sutra, we dedicate our sincere efforts to the successive generations of Buddhas and ancestors who transmitted the flame, those of different body and special mind so often misunderstood by the many, those who may have been met with exclusion or fear, those for whom the path was filled with obstacles and barriers. We honor those for whom entrance was so often denied and halls once barred, successive generations of Buddhas and ancestors who transmitted the flame. The Venerable Lakuntaka Badaya Dayosho, whose body was bent and who met with scorn, but who persisted without resentment and was praised by the Buddha for the highest attainment. The Bodhisattva's baby prince Dayosho, who lived in a body without hearing, speech, or free limb, in protest of injustice and cruelty in this world. Kujutara Dayosho, bent of back, she cleansed her own heart and was praised by the Buddha as most learned. Kakupala Dayosho, without sight, he saw clearly the true effects of malice and of killing, with most others cannot see. Patakara Dayosho, at the deaths of the family she loved, left emotionally troubled and living homeless in the streets, a victim of derision from passers-by, and Buddha showed her the true path, the true home through impermanence. Sanu Dayosho. Prone to fits, then little understood, seizures one through an evil curse. He opens all our eyes. Ganjin Dayosho. Courageous and learned, without sight, he came from China to Japan to bring Buddhist teachings and arts of healing. Super Buddha Dayosho. Living with leprosy, he teaches not to judge by appearance or false beauty when many would turn away. The Moso Dayosho. Without sight, bird from priesthood, but with lutes in hand, they brought the teachings to other in music and tales. Arja Chuda Pantaka Dayosho. Slow to read and learn in words such that others gave up, the Buddha taught him to polish without and sweep the mind within. Toju Raiso Dayosho. Quick to forget, the slow student who preserved a protector of Buddhism in difficult times, mender of sandals as his only gift, yet becoming the abbot of great temples. Those many sentient beings, each and all teachers in their way, who have struggled with addictions, confusion, depression, and mental conditions so often misunderstood. And to all the many other honored ones, same yet diverse beings through the generations, to whom the doors were closed, or whose names have been forgotten or left unsaid. We now seek to welcome all with doors flung open, halls unbarred. We especially dedicate our sincere efforts to Shakyamuni Buddha, honored one, the historical Buddha and teacher, and to those ancestral teachers, Eihei Dogen honored one, Soshi Keison honored one, all successive honored ones up until Suigaku Rempo honored one, Gudo Wafu honored one, all other honored ones throughout history, same yet diverse honored ones whose names have been forgotten or left unsaid. We also dedicate these efforts to the three treasures, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, to all awakened ones and teachers in all places and times. We especially seek tranquility and well-being for all creatures now suffering or ill in health. May they be serene through all their ills. May their lives be at peace, and wisdom pervades the darkness of ignorance. We dedicate our hopes and aspirations to all victims of war and violence and natural events, to the injured, to all families touched by these tragedies, to the healing of hatred in all countries and among all peoples, to the wisdom and compassion of our world leaders, to the peace of the world and harmony of all beings. Thus let the harmful effects of words, thoughts, and actions be dispelled, and compassion bloom in perpetual spring. May we all realize and live the enlightened way together. All Buddhas throughout space and time. All Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Maha Prajna Paramita.
Zazen? Kinhin. Please take this time, if you're not going to do a traditional Kinhin, to try doing modified Kinhin. What is to say, gently adjusting yourself in your seat or your bed, or following your breath instead of following the heel to toe. All right, it helps when I say Zazen to be unmuted. Zazen, and we will have a talk. Please feel free to sit, recline, whatever way you prefer to do. If you want to, you can get yourself a beverage or what have you. We'll just have a little chat. And if you prefer, you can sit in Zazen. First thing I'd like to say, I'd just like to thank all the priests, the Unsui, all the techno-inos, all the people behind scenes, and everybody participating for making this a great Rohatsu so far. So thank you very much. I'm in rare form today. I pushed myself too hard yesterday, and so I didn't sleep last night. So you get me in perfect, just delirious, Jinkan. Which can be great because then I have an excuse for why I, basically just destroyed all the pronunciation of all the Sanskrit and Japanese words. So with that said, we're going to get into more of Menzan's Jiyuyu Zanmani. He says, at this point, we must understand thoroughly that body, mind, and the world, time and space, are all one. Only if illusory mind is dropped off will body, mind, and the world not be separate from one another. Fundamentally, there is only one universal Dharma world in which all things permeate each other. Menzan is saying that everything has been writing about has led up to this core concept. And not only should we, but we must understand it at this point. This understanding of interconnectedness, there is no I or you. You are giving this talk, and I am watching just as much as I am giving this talk, and you are watching. Because we have this evolutionary imperative to categorize things, it's a hard concept for us to grasp. It was the caveman that was able to categorize things with sharp claws and teeth that lived versus the one who tried to snuggle them. We must, through practice, overcome this evolutionary imperative. This is why even after we experience the way, the unmanifest, in the manifestation, no mind, we still practice. So when I say, I am you and you are me, it can seem contradictory. Let that go. Sit or recline. When you think to yourself, am I really giving this talk? And is he really watching? Just let that arise and let it go. Accept and let go that you, accept and let go of the you and the me. Accept and let go of the questions. When you do that, you will start to experience the no I and the all. Menzan continues. Therefore, when you admit the original light, which is beyond the dimensions of thought, and illuminate illusory mind, then body, mind, and the world become the Virakana Tathagata. This is the meaning behind the saying, when the light quietly illuminates the whole universe, ordinary beings and all other living beings are just one family. The original light is that experience of interconnectedness, the Dhammakaya, It is when you experience not the wave, the I, but the whole ocean, the all. The Buddha nature, the eternal that dwells in us all. Menzan uses the Virakana Tathagata to represent the whole. He also uses it because it is primarily associated with the esoteric. And for those who don't practice, interconnectedness can seem very esoteric. It is through Zazen that we find the lamp that allows us to see the whole. It shines through the delusion, illuminating truth. It shows us all things. Continuing. The original face of body, mind, and the world is beyond any definition, derived from thought and discrimination, such as being destroyed, not being destroyed, following or transcending the principle of appearance and disappearance. The original face of body, mind, and the world is the Dhammakaya, the unmanifest that all Buddhas manifest and arise from, and then return to, that indescribable truth that is all and none, only to be experienced when the mind is dropped. When this happens, you attain the unattainable and gain what you already had. You realize any striving was pointless and in vain, because you are already at the finish line before the race even started. For this reason, when everything is clearly illuminated by the light of the Buddha's awareness, beyond thoughts and discrimination, and when body, mind, and the world, mountains, rivers, and the great earth are not considered as existing separately, there is no distinction between inside and outside, subject and object. There is no separation whatsoever between body, mind, and the world. It is like air mixed with air, or water mixed with water. Menzin is continuing to expand that all is interconnected. All is the interconnected nature of the manifestations of the unmanifest. There is an old saying which expresses the same meaning. If one truly realizes the mind, there is not 1 inch of extra land on the great earth. We can equally say that if one truly realizes the earth, there will not be an inch of thought in our mind. That is why Shakyamuni, in attaining the way, said, the earth, living beings, and non-living beings, and I have all attained the way at the same time. This also expresses the reality of body, mind, and the world being just one. If one truly realizes the mind, there's not 1 inch of extra land on this great earth. So the person who masters the mind doesn't discriminate and encompasses all because he realizes he is all. Shakyamuni shares with us all things have a Buddha nature. All things share in his realization. You were the sunshine. You were the grass, the Bodhi tree, and Gautama when he realized the way. You, on the mat, the chair, or sick bed when the realization hits you. You will soon know that this solitary practice has never been so. You have and will always sit with the masters in the eternal. So why would Menzan write about the indescribable interconnectedness of all things? What is he doing with this small passage? What he's doing with this small passage is trying to be a signpost on the road to practice. Just as you drive and see signs for streets, hotels, and restaurants, if you've never been there, you only have the vaguest idea of what to expect. You could see a signpost for a hotel, go there expecting a shack in the middle of nowhere, and receive the pleasant surprise of a 4-star palace. The only way to find out if that is the case is to get on the exit, head to that destination. That is Shikantaza. Through all these heavy-weighted words of manifest, unmanifest, Dhammakaya, and interconnected, they are just signs on the highway of life until you decide to take the off-ramp. That is to say, practice Shikantaza and experience the destination. Menzan was a reformer in an era where monks were falling into different practices. He was there holding up a light. He was there saying, you don't need esoteric practices. You don't need Nembutsu. Dogen came back from China with all you need, and that is to simply sit. Before I had my stroke, I was quite verbose, and words, they came easily. After the stroke, I realized words weren't easy to access anymore. I had to go to speech therapy to relearn to talk, and I still have problems. I have the vocabulary learned, it's in my brain, but it's out of reach. This is a good example of both dukkha and practice. For me, the words are there. I just need to find ways of getting them out, deeply hidden under layers of faulty neurons. For you, true nature of all resides in you. We all just manifest for the briefest moments cosmically to return to the unmanifest, which can be accessed through practice. It is not faulty neuron that hides it, but ego and delusion. So follow Mensan's signpost and go down the path of Dogen Shikantaza. You will encounter brambles, potholes, uneven surfaces, and when you finally make it to that 4-star hotel, you may find it locked. You will sit and struggle with the door until one day you realize you were turning it the wrong direction and the door was open to you all along. I hope your path to Stokusen has not been a rough road, but if it has, remember that it is through great pressure that diamonds are made. If you're thinking that of all these ideas that seem lofty and beyond grasp, how do I incorporate them into my practice in life? Well, firstly, stop grasping. Don't think of them as lofty. Just sit, and when the internal ever-changing becomes apparent to you, you won't have to implement it in your life. It will ingrain itself in you and in all aspects of your life. If I tell you how this will affect your life, that may become your focus. So for now, please just accept this humble talk about attachment. Your practice at times may be a desert, at times it may be a wellspring, but it is always practice. I want to share I'll share 2 final stories before. In 2012, I suffered 3 of the worst months in my life. I lost my grandfather December of 2012. I lost my mother in January of 2013. And in February, I lost my wife and my daughter driving back from my mother's funeral to a drunk driver. I died with them those days. And yet, they live with me. We are interconnected. I don't need family photos. I don't keep them, not because I don't want to remember or because it's with me, because they're always with me. We are always connected. So if you struggle with grasping that interconnected, it's there, and it's just, once you open yourself to it, you never feel alone. You never feel lost. Last part of this talk has nothing to do. It's just something that I think bears being shared. Some of you may have seen it during the ceremony. I don't know how good my camera was, but you may have seen the thing in my hand, which is a ryudi, or kotsu in Japanese. It's called the ryugi is the wish fulfilling scepter. You receive it during the transmission ceremony, and it looks like a wand, and it takes every ounce of my effort to not skip around the house with this and start spouting off Harry Potter spells, going Expelliarmus, Expelliarmus. That has nothing to do whatsoever with this, the talk. But it's one of those things that even in that moment, even in that goofiness, you can find something. There's wisdom there, whether it's the joy of being childish for a brief minute. So earlier, Menzon talked about, he was focusing on us. Here we go. My brain's not going to work anymore. Samadhi. He was focusing on, talking about samadhi. Samadhi allows you to find those brief things. You find those brief moments of interconnectedness. See the little bits of wisdom that you can get, and even the smallest thing. So I hope you all continue to have lovely practices, and I will try to answer any questions if you have any. I don't know how well I'll do. Does anybody have any questions? Go, Rowan.
I have heard that and before enlightenment, life is chopping wood and carrying water. And after enlightenment, chopping wood and carrying water is what life is. But do not be mistaken. The chopping wood and carrying water before enlightenment is not the same as the chopping wood and carrying water after enlightenment. And I would like to ask your understanding on this.
It's true. So the best way that I could describe it is when I used to cook, while I was cooking, my mind was elsewhere. It was, I might be thinking about the guest I'm cooking for. I might be thinking about how the plate, the how I'm going to set it up, how I'm going to plate everything. I might even thinking about what's going to be for the desserts, but I wasn't focused on what I was actually doing. And then through practice, I started focusing on and just been, and you can find, this may sound mystical, but you can find the infinite in just chopping up a green onion, just being there through each slice, your awareness of it, and being fully present, knowing that that's what it is. Whereas, it's that, it's almost even a step beyond mindfulness, because you're not just like, all right, I'm here, doing it. Like, you are giving your all to it as well. So like when the person who might, before enlightenment, he's just got a chore to do. He's got to get the water, he's got to do it, and his mind is probably elsewhere. And the person who's trying that becomes, everything. That becomes his whole world while he's doing that. Not something that just needs to get done. Not something that he's trying to skirt away. So I hope that makes sense.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions or statements? Make sure I'm not missing anybody here. Well, looks like nobody else really has any questions, so I guess we can just we'll sit Zazen for the rest, and then I'm just glad that you all came to this Rohatsu, and I'm thankful for you to listen to my talk. So.
We need to close the sutras, Jinkin.
Yeah.
So you said we need to close the sutras. I need to chant the closing sutra verse.
Yeah.
You mind?
Yes. Yeah. Go for it.
May the merits of these teachings penetrate into each thing in all places, so that we and every sentient being together may realize the Buddha way. Buddhas throughout space and time. All Bodhisattvas, Mahasattva, Prashna, Paramita.
Kinhin. Zazen? please enjoy a 30-minute break until the next section starts.